Yo, big up everyone. So, you know what to do. Yep, it's me, Adam Law, 2025, back again with another video, but on my Brazilian channel. Obviously, as always, Brazilian stuff's in English, as I'm trying to cover as much as I can. Trying to get as much space and all that. So, big up to everyone. I hope everyone is doing so. Yeah. All right. Let me try to pull this up. So yeah. Um. You know, and I will say this one more thing. Make sure you smash like, subscribe. You know what to do. Yep, like I said, smash the likes. All that. It's free. But yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Let me try to pull this up. So hold on. So yeah. Guys. The Brazilian league is back. Sorry if I couldn't just put it right away, but we all know that we all know that we all know the Brazilian league is back this week. So I want to preview some matches, and before that, as anyone is wondering, the Brazilian league is good. As we're gonna continue some of these teams. I all I gotta say, let me try to turn on my camera. As long as it doesn't give me problems, as always. Big up to everyone. Hopefully my internet doesn't crash. If it does, then that's why I cannot just do this. Dang it. Uh, Sorry if I can't show my face. Not because I don't want to. It's my camera or the internet. I have no idea what's going on with this freaking camera. It's been like lagging for like the last few weeks, and I haven't had time. But anyways, I'm just here to make this video. But yeah, we're here to do the Brazilian League preview, match day 13th. After what an incredible journey for our Brazilian teams: Palmeiras, Botafogo, Flamengo, Fluminense. I'm proud of every single one of them, especially trying to get out of the group, trying to sacrifice. But even though there could have been things that could have been done, but yeah, really disappointed. But yeah, I'm really happy for the Brazilian teams. Yup, absolutely. Like Brazil football says, they won the Copa Libertadores, Palmeiras 2022, 2021, Flamengo 20, Fluminense 23, and Botafogo 3. But in the last three, it was all from Rio de Janeiro. So mostly Rio de Janeiro FC taking care of it, and we at least made Fluminense made the semifinals. I'm really proud of them, and we're going to be talking about them. And I'm proud of them. I'm really proud of the teams that have done upsets against the giant clubs. Fluminense taking down Inter Milan and Al Lahan on their way to the semis. Really proud of Thiago Silva and his leadership to reaching the semifinals. She could have reached the final, but sorry that. But yeah, both even though yes, Botafogo and Flamengo they both sadly got eliminated in round 16. Even though Botafogo Palmeiras they managed to meet in a rivalry, which I doubted, which I was thinking that would be cool that they meet, and they did because Botafogo finished second ahead of Atletico Madrid, especially doing that upset against PSG. And they lost 1-0 to Atletico Madrid, which Griezmann got his only goal in LA. And Palmeiras top in the group thanks to goal difference against Inter Miami. So they just need to hold on for a 2-2 draw, and they did. Palmeiras, Botafogo, Fluminense, Flamengo, they came in, obviously. Flamengo's big win against Chelsea, which in my opinion, Flamengo deserves to be in the final more than Chelsea, because if Flamengo beat Chelsea, and the problem is, I think Flamengo were scammed. I know they were going to end up the higher side of the bracket, but here's the thing. Flamengo, they were supposed to play Bayern as projected, but in another side of the bracket, because Flamengo, once they beat Chelsea, and they I wouldn't say an upset at this point, because I was convinced they probably will beat Chelsea. And they did. They beat them 3-1. Felipe Luis absolutely outcoached Enzo Maresca. And the problem is, Chelsea, they got a they got an out of jail escape card, to be unfair. You want to know why? Flamengo started to play Bayern. Well, we all know Flamengo was most likely going to play Benfica, but no. Not until Bayern Munich decides to not take Benfica seriously, being lazy, and also thanks to Boca Juniors being absolutely frauds in South America, almost beating Benfica until they fricked up. They fucked up. They bottled it, Boca Juniors, and now they let Benfica top the group and let them get them an easier path, letting Chelsea to have an easier path, because look at Chelsea's bracket, like you said. They had to play Benfica, Palmeiras, which Palmeiras Fluminense did not have enough quality. Esteval's goal wasn't even enough to go against his future club, because an own goal cost them the game. And and yeah, unfortunately, and then it just proves that it's just disappointing. But I mean, not disappointing. I'm proud of the Brazilian league team. I'm proud of the Brazilian team's success. And I'm convinced the Brazilian league should be top 10, because look at how well they complete. Flamengo beat Chelsea 3-1. And the problem is, Flamengo should have been in the semis. They should have been in the quarterfinals. Even if they ended up that side of the bracket as finishing first, they probably would have beaten PSG. And here's the thing: if Flamengo, imagine if Flamengo finished second, and they probably would have still had to play Benfica in that other side of the bracket. They probably would have made. We probably would have gotten a Brazilian side in the final. Because here's the thing: Palmeiras would have to play Botafogo, and then they'll have to play Flamengo versus Palmeiras. For the men, they made semifinals playing either one of those two, because you expect Palmeiras. And yes, and we could have gone to Fla Flu in the semifinals, and we could have. It could have been the dream scenario if no one had thought about it. If it went another way, well, if Chelsea finished the group first and Bayern finished second, that's probably what it should have been like. And gotten they probably would have lost to PSG, but it would have been Bayern, Chelsea in that side of the bracket, or that other side of the bracket. And the problem is, Bayern Munich had the tougher side of the bracket. And here's the thing: the only reason why Chelsea also got to the final, Man City, they screwed up against Alihan for underestimating Inzaghi's side too much, losing 4-3 in extra time. After going 1-0 up as expected, then they bottled it, so they came back, and then Alihan, Man City equalized, and then for not starting Ryan Cherky and all that, and now Man City are out, and now it proves that Chelsea were going to get a free pass to the final, while PSG, they had to play Bayern, who knocked out Flamengo. Well, first Inter Miami's Messi, then Bayern Munich, and then Real Madrid and Mbappe, and destroyed Mbappe's team 4-0, like Man City and Barcelona did. Yep, it's cooking Real Madrid, obviously, and destroying them. Even if Flamengo played Bayern, I don't think they had a chance against PSG. For all due respect, PSG are just a humble side, no doubt about that. They're probably the best side in the world, no excuses, no about that. But it was funny that they didn't take Botafogo seriously. So maybe they just played only one laid back game, and you probably would have gifted Botafogo the win. I'm not saying that Botafogo played real well, but if PSG didn't took that well, but even though it was a serious game, but ever since then, that was it. PSG's only goal was from N'Golo Jesus that scored the winner against Botafogo, and now Botafogo they had to play. They had to play Atletico Madrid, Seattle Sounders, and PSG. Well, PSG second, and they managed to advance due to goal difference because all they need is to not lose by 2-0 or something like that, or 3-0, and that's why they lost. And now these teams, Botafogo, Palmeiras, Flamengo, Fluminense, we're going to check their fixtures because the Brazilian league, in my opinion, it needs to get recognized more. Honestly, so let me try to pull this up. The Brazilian league deserves more recognition. I definitely agree. Will I do these watch-alongs? Hold on, let me. It's just really annoying that we're going slow. It's really hard, bro. Like, even though I do have some, but I'm just saying, uh-huh. No, never mind. All right, so there was all right. So I'm back. So the Brazilian league. All right, let's go preview the games now. These are the fixtures that happen after every Brazilian team elimination. This is why Brazilian football needs to be not just respected, but we talked about more, especially in the local area, especially where everyone is getting their players, especially in Gula Jesus, who's now moving to 9-4. So I forgot to pressure that, but yeah, Gula Jesus has left Botafogo for Forest, along with their defender Jair Klein, I think, to Nottingham Forest. They're going together. Esteval leaving Palmeiras for Chelsea after meeting them and getting eliminated already by his club. The Esteval Derby. Um, who else? Teams are trying to make like another signings, but yeah, these are so far in the matches. So yes, Neymar. Yup. Let's not forget he's at Santos. He had a charity match, I think. I wasn't paying attention. I think during the Club World Cup doing this, so there wasn't no football in the Brazilian league for about a week, and these teams do have a game or two. Palmeiras versus Santos is by far, I would say, the second biggest game. In my opinion, all right, so we got these games: Santos, Palmeiras, Marlisal, Fluminense, Flamengo, São Paulo, Internacional, Victoria, Vasco, Botafogo, Bahia, Atlético Mineiro, Corinthians, Bragantino, Cruzeiro, Grêmio, Fortaleza, Cares, UV2, Sporting, Graflick. In my opinion, this game, Flamengo, São Paulo, is by far the biggest game of the week because there are two giant clubs. The biggest from Rio de Janeiro going against São Paulo FC from São Paulo, obviously the biggest city in Brazil. Even though this is the third biggest club in São Paulo, arguably, because because the size, because thanks to Palmeiras Corinthians, but this is by far the biggest game of the week. The second biggest game I would say is Santos versus Palmeiras, but that game is getting postponed because I think they're just trying to give Palmeiras a little bit of rest from the Club World Cup since they went further than everyone else. Same thing for Fluminense. Their next game is supposed to be Mirasol, but they're getting postponed, so they're not going to play tomorrow. So these were the games that we were about to cover now. But yeah, this game is interesting. I want Santos Palmeiras. It's very interesting because It's basically Neymar versus Santos and Palmeiras. They build a rivalry in the in-state competition. So yeah, Sao Paulo. I mean, around Sao Paulo region, especially winning many titles for the South for the Copa Libertadores or league titles, the in-state, the Paulista, and all that. But yeah, this is what it is. But unfortunately, this game is getting postponed. I don't know when, but I'm hoping that it gets. I'm excited for this game. Hopefully, I'll do a watch along. Neymar versus Palmeiras, especially when Neymar was at Santos. He was cooking obviously generally Santos, but even against the big games against Palmeiras, when he was there, I know I was young, but he was running fast. He was trying to dribble against Palmeiras, especially in that 2012 matchup. There's many clips Neymar versus Palmeiras, especially 2012. That was the last time 2010, and even the freaking Palmeiras as his president fired back at Neymar's strong retirement remark debate. So yes, especially some tensions and all that. So yeah, this is very interesting. I like this derby. Palmeiras already played Santos and they beaten them 2-1 in the in-state Paulista. Santos didn't meet Palmeiras. They didn't qualify for the final because Corinthians was in the way. But that was the last time. But especially Neymar scored a divestiture goal against them back in 2009 in the first leg. But yeah, there's a lot of history. But unfortunately, now this game is getting postponed. I'm really disappointed because I think that, in my opinion, this is probably one of the biggest games I would say in the world outside the Club World Cup final between PSG Chelsea. This is by far a bit disappointing that we're not going to have a matchup for Santos because I would like to see that. But yet these games in hand. Martial versus Fluminense, same thing, game postponed. Huerta Paulista. That's where Fluminense's next game is supposed to be at, but now unfortunately not. They're getting eliminated by Chelsea by team 2 goals by their former academy João Pedro. So yeah, this game is so yeah, especially they'll have to wait for Thiago Silva and João Arias decide. Alright, let's move back to the Flamengo São Paulo game. This is by far the biggest game, like I said. I mean, someone said they might do watch along, so I'll have a look. If not, I'll do it. Flamengo São Paulo is by far the biggest game in Brazil this week. Flamengo are definitely clear favorites. São Paulo has been shit, honestly. They sacked their manager or coach, who's going crazy, couldn't maintain his temper either. I forgot. But they sacked him, especially losing 3-1 to Vasco. But he's Argentine. But now they have hired Heron Gershon. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's going to be managing. Now his first game is going against Flamengo, the biggest club. Flamengo, by the way, they are right now the leader of the Brazilian league, so they're just going to compete the Brazilian league campaign. They got a game ahead of Cruzeiro. They could go 1 point ahead of Bragantino, who plays Corinthians, which I'm about to get to it. Palmeiras, they're not going to play, but they'll have a game in hand. But even that, if Flamengo are expect, they'll be leader, 2 points. So yeah, Flamengo is by far the best goal difference. Anyone else in the league, they've been the best team in Brazil. So yes, this is a must-win game for Flamengo. I expect them to win. If I have to go for scoreline prediction, I'm gonna go. If I have to go for scoreline prediction, maybe 3-1, or 4-1, or 3-0. I could see, especially the new identity at Sao Paulo. But yeah, the game is played at the Maracanã in Rio de Janeiro. Definitely gonna be there. Yep, this game is in just 18 hours. We got another game. Internacional playing Victoria. Internacional, they're in poor form. They're now in the relegation zone, and just above them is Victoria with a slightly better goal difference. And unfortunately, this is going to be a not mid off, but a bad off, a shit off game. Unfortunately, I have no idea what happened to Internacional, and Internacional's I forgot the coach's name. Roger. I have no idea what happened after having a good region, good good first season when he was opponent in July of last year, and now 51 weeks later, it hasn't been great. And I mean now, Internacional, they've been poor. Besides that one more draw against Flamengo, beating Grêmio in the derby for winning the NCAA competition, and then again they've been getting some bad results, losing to Corinthians 4-2. Fair enough. Letting David All Jr. get his first win, losing to Palmeiras at home 1-0 this time, and now doing it the wrong way. I think this game might either end 0-0, 1-1 offensively. They haven't been great. Inter Valencia hasn't been clicking, or neither, or all that. I have no idea why they're not playing that well. Why are they not playing that well? So I expect to either be 0-0 or maybe a 1-0 win for Internacional just for the home advantage. Or might see a shit house goal like an own goal or penalty. I just don't think this game will be that entertaining. But yeah, Sao Paulo. I forgot to mention this. They also lost 3-1 to Vasco. Um, they haven't been playing well. So yeah, so yeah, it's embarrassing. Go. Oh, but yeah. All right. So here's the next game. Here's the next derby. We got Rio de Janeiro Carioca Clásico, Rio de Janeiro derby. Vasco versus Botafogo. After Vasco's 3-1 win against São Paulo away, this is a good result. They haven't been playing for a month, so they'll be checking in their form. And here's the derby between Vasco and Botafogo. Botafogo, after having a good Club World Cup campaign just by beating PSG, even though they should have done more against Seattle, and even though losing to Atletico Madrid just 1-0, but knocking them out. No one thought they would have been the underdog. They would have gone. Now everyone thought Atleti would have qualified second, but they didn't. Oh, damn it. My mom's- Sorry about that. But yeah, Vasco Botafogo. I think it's going to be a derby. So Botafogo, unfortunately, they sacked their head coach for. He's been sacked. He's been sacked, which means that no more football. No more. Here's the thing. Looks like yep, Botafogo they have replaced him already with Carlo Ancelotti's son, and David on Ancelotti. I think. Or no. No, like, no. I thought they. So yeah. Yeah. But yes. But yeah, now Botafogo the clearance of Angulo Jesus and Jaid. Though I don't know if they'll go back to market and like try to find a replacement for them. I haven't heard reports as much, but yeah, and then of course Chelsea fans will be asking Botafogo, how did you beat PSG? Well, PSG, in my opinion, no offense, I'm gonna have to speak facts. I don't know, I just think PSG might have kind of didn't took that game seriously, so they just want to play that like shocking like resting way basically, just for this knockout and go full force because we've seen this before. PSG can be like that, but yeah. But now Carlo Ancelotti's son, David Ancelotti, yup, he is going. Yup, the son of Carlo will be coaching Botafogo, and he's already facing the derby against Vasco da Gama. Vasco, another black and white to Rio de Janeiro. So that's interesting. And so if Google says Botafogo are the favorites, if I have to go with a scored prediction, I'm gonna go either a draw, a 1-1 draw, like they did last year in June, or yeah, in Botafogo last year when they had Arthur as coach, when they still had Luis Enrique and Angulo Jesus and all that, Botafogo went 1-0 up in the first like 6 minutes. No, not 6 minutes. No, it took 73 minutes to break them down. But but yeah, but ever since then, they got they got beaten. So, no, sorry, I was just where is it? And then Vasco equalized on the 85th minute from open play. I think it was Jari. Yeah, it was 1-1. So I'm gonna go either 1-1 draw, or if I had to go for a win, Botafogo might win this game 2-1. Or I think either open play or penalty or a set piece, but we'll see how they adapt. Following goal, Jesus, Carlon. So I'll most likely lead for a draw. So this game will be played at the area in Garrincha in Brasilia. This won't be played in Rio de Janeiro because the San Joaquin, or Drawan won't be played at home because it's too small. For some reason, Rio de Janeiro's is for some reason Vasco Stadium is actually pretty small, smaller than a pirate ship. So I'm really kind of not just disappointed, but I'm kind of surprised. And Vasco is a much better club than Botafogo, you could say. Even though Botafogo at Neo dos Santos Stadium, I thought that was Vasco's home. I thought San Joaquin was Botafogo Stadium, but no, they actually. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win, or 1-1 draw, I would say, or 2-2 draw of entertainment. 4 goals, yes. Bahia versus Atletico Mineiro. This is kind of an honest one, I would say. Bahia, they're sitting fifth and arguably on good form. So, yep, especially their players like the former Brighton of Spain, Sociedad. They're I forgot his name, Jose something. Yeah. I think he'll. I expect him to lead the team though. Whole thing. So this game will be played in Bahia and Salvador. I think Bahia will win this game probably just 1-0 or 2-1, or maybe 2-0. We'll see. Atletico Madrid, they've been decent. I could go either 1-0 Bahia or 1-1 draw. We'll take that. Even though Bahia are expected to be the favorites and be the better side and be closer to the winner for sure because they're at home advantage. All right, let's go to and then yeah, that's gonna be the latest game on Saturday. I'm definitely gonna try broadcast that on Sunday, Domingo, after the Club World Cup, which we expect to have a Club World Cup winner of this new edition, either Chelsea or PSG, the current Conference League winners slash 2021 Champions League winners versus the 2025 champions right now. Yep, the current ones. So yeah, by then which we probably expect PSG to win because they have to because they're definitely more favorites. Like I said, but yeah, in this game, Corinthians versus Bragantino, things haven't been going well for Corinthians. The last game, they draw twice against Victoria. They drew Grammy away, which wasn't much of a bad result, but disappointing. But Corinthians have not won a game for a while since that game against oh shit, they had three straight draws since I forgot which game. I forgot which game and when was the last time they won, but they haven't won for a while. They haven't won since beating Nova in the Brazilian Cup. Oh yeah, since they beat Santos in the league. I forgot. That's Classico Uniberto winner. That was the last time, and they haven't. And funny enough, Corinthians they have beaten Santos 3 times in a row, and Neymar only played once in that game in the February edition, the Campeonato regular season in the Paulista one. I mean, but not in the league. Not even the playoffs of the NCAA Paulista. I mean, but yeah, Corinthians is the pressure's on them, especially they're not going to play Sudamerica, and then they're playing against Bragantino, an actual good team that playing. So yes, it could be an upset. It could be a Bragantino win. It could be a Corinthians win. It could be a draw. Well, the pressure's on Corinthians, even though Bragantino lost 3-0. So I expect Corinthians to be the favorite, or well, even though most of the player, I could see a draw. I'm just decided this game could go either way, even though it's at Corinthians ground. So maybe this game could be another draw, or Corinthians will edge it out like 2-1, or Bragantino edges out 2-1, or 2-3. A thriller, maybe, or 1-0. It's just tough to say. Might have to go for another draw. Looks like Corinthians are the favorite. Well, they have the home advantage, so they have to. And but yeah, this is after the Club World Cup, which we will do a watch along. I think for that. So yeah, but yeah, it's probably the fourth biggest game. All right, next game, Cruzeiro Grêmio. That's probably a medium-sized game. The biggest from Mineiro versus the biggest from Porto Alegre. Blue versus blue. Both one common enemy. They hate their crosstown rivals Atlético Mineiro and Internacional, and Atlético Mineiro won that derby against Internacional 2-0. Cruzeiro, they've been in much better form than Grêmio, so in their last game, they did drew 0-0, unfortunately, against Victoria away. That was disappointing, but they beat Palmeiras 2-1, so and Flamengo 2-1 as well eventually. So I'm wondering how Cruzeiro will do. I expect Cruzeiro to get a nice 2-0 or 3-1 comfy win. I think Cruzeiro will go 3-0 up, and Grêmio might get one back, or Grêmio might. So I think this game ends 3-1. I think Gabriel Barbosa might score, or Marquinhos to show up, who's no longer at Arsenal. Big up to him, but yeah. I expect the 3-1 win. I expect either a 3-1 win for Cruzeiro. Yeah, 3-1. I don't know if we'll continue doing that watch along heading towards Sunday, but yeah, Sunday is big. And we're gonna and let me comment about these two games real quick. So got another one, Fortaleza versus Arsenal. After a disappointing campaign for Fortaleza, they're in relegation zone, and so is and Kirsten. They have gone above Fortaleza, and the problem is Fortaleza hasn't been doing good, especially even if they have David Luiz. The experience they haven't been that great. So ever since last season, they've dropped off, and it hasn't been a great start. Not like last year. I expect this game to end in a draw, maybe a 1-1 or 2-2, or 0-0 possibly. But I'm really disappointed in Fortaleza. They they even lost to Santos at home, and two of their goals were not even from open play. It was a penalty to even get back to even equalize, and they lost to Santos at home. Then Garson, they're gonna do that, then they could beat you. I have no idea what's going on with this Fortaleza side, but it's just worrying for some people. Even I'm kind of concerned. Fortaleza lost to Palmeiras at home. Yep. And then let's talk about this last game, I would say. Let's talk about this last game. This game is played on a Monday, so probably no one cares, I think, about it that much. Unless you're a local fan, YouTuber is Sporting. I'm gonna go for draw, I guess. I don't know much of their players. I know Sporting Raflik has this Colombian player they picked up from Liga MX. I forgot his name, but he played for like Cholos of Tijuana, cross border from San Diego, obviously the club and city. 2 hour drive from LA and all that. But but yeah. But yeah, I expect but yeah, these are all the Brazilian League predictions, I think, in the preview. By far, we'll see. So far Vascaeta leading the goal sheet. Okay, or hey, oh yeah, I forgot to mention him. And Balarecci. I forgot to mention for Cruzeiro and Vasco, but they are right now leading the chart. Right now, absolutely. Our best players definitely Vascaeta show up absolutely. So yeah, there you go. That's all for the Brazilian league. That's all for today. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Anything else to say? But yeah, you know what to do. Big up to everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.